Aloha and welcome to this week's weekly wrap up. Now, that kind of escalated pretty quickly when I look at our COVID 19 dashboard from the corporation in this week. Um, I look at our numbers from last week, and we had only a few cases here at Middle School North. And today, when I look at Middle School North, we're in double digits. And so I've been talking with the students about, how good they have been doing as far as cleaning their desks and maintaining social distancing when they can and washing their hands and those kinds of things. And so, we're continuing to do all of those best practices here at school. And I also wanted to share that we saw the same thing last year. If you can remember, last year we came back into school for a few weeks, and then we had to go to blended from there. So it's not entirely unexpected when we get these kids all back together again that they start trading some cooties. And I'm hearing from students that the large number of absences that we're seeing, while we record the COVID absences, we also have some strep throat that's going around and different things like that. That other viruses that are being passed around as well. So not entirely unexpected. It's just something that we definitely want to keep an eye on in these times where these COVID times, this new normal that we're all living in. Anything we can do to help minimize that would be good. And so, things at home, if you have somebody who is feeling sick, having them stay at home would be best. And while in person learning is what we all, prefer, I do understand that, it's important to stay at home if you're feeling sick. And so, Canvas is my best tool for providing instruction to kids who are at home. So, unlike in the past, when I was in school, we had to kind of, mom or dad had to come in and grab the, work and take it home. That doesn't need to happen anymore. We can do all of that in real time through Canvas. And so, I wanted to talk a little bit about how I provide my support and continue to give feedback to students in Canvas. And so every day there is an assignment that the kids have to complete in Canvas. And so this would be an example of the grades tab. You can see there are assignments that are listed over here. The way those are named is they're named by the date and then a short description of the concept or whatever we're doing that day. And then the first thing would be to look at is, if there are any missing assignments, that would be number one. That would be the first thing that I would look for. And then you can click on that assignment and that'll take you to that assignment. It'll have everything that all the support material for that idea for what they need to do. They can just complete that and then submit it. Another thing I wanted to point out is this little, I know it's kind of hard to see, but this little button over here, that is the feedback button. And so when a student submits an assignment, I will provide very focused and detailed feedback to them if they did not get the full amount of points. And so you can see this particular assignment was a Nearpod. Students would, as they worked through that, they would submit answers and so on. And then I can go in and review what they have submitted and provide feedback. And that's what I do. That's my job, is to provide information back to them. And we start this feedback loop where they'll turn in something, I'll provide feedback. They then take that information, do it again, and then I'll provide more feedback. And that's kind of what learning looks like in my classroom. And we model that then on Canvas. So I can provide that feedback loop, and it's really helpful. What's not helpful if I don't get anything turned in. I can't really, provide feedback on nothing. And so when we go back to this, if I have a missing assignment here, that's really hard for me to provide feedback on nothing. And so what I really encourage students to do is to at least provide me something that I can take a look at. I can try to work through, what is their misconceptions, what are they doing wrong, and then we can go from there. But by leaving a missing assignment, it makes it really difficult. So if a student is at home, just know that every single morning I post an assignment for that day that will summarize the information, and then they have to do something. Then the next day, same kind of thing. And so every day there is an assignment and something for them to do in Canvas. Now, that's a little different than what is reported in Skyward. So, Skyward is only about 2 of those Canvas assignments are reported into Skyward per week. So, if we're doing a quiz like we did last week, there might be one assignment and one quiz. This week, because we're doing NWEA testing, I didn't have any assessments in class, but I had a couple assignments that I wanted to make sure that the kids were getting feedback on that. And so those are the 2 assignments that are being reported. So when you go into the Skyward and the family access, you might notice here at the top there is in red what's called missing assignments. And then you can click on this show all button, and that'll list all the assignments that student might be missing within Skyward. So that is, if we have a student who's absent multiple days, and they've been sick, and so they haven't been able to log into Canvas, and now they're kind of behind, I would say that the best strategy is to go into Skyward, look at the assignments that have been reported. There'll be, the missing assignments are the ones that, are up here. And that would be, then I would go take that list, go back into Canvas, and focus on those specific assignments. Now, does that mean that these other ones aren't important? No. But what it does mean is, in our hierarchy, those ones that are being reported into Skyward are more important than the ones that are not being reported. So, I understand it's sometimes difficult for students, especially when they're not feeling well or have family members that aren't feeling well and have to stay at home because they're in quarantine or whatever. And so, I understand it can happen where, kids feel overwhelmed and get behind. And so those Skyward grades would be the ones I would focus on first. And then the second ones would be the ones that might not be reported, but are, important as far as developmental of those bigger skills. And so, every assignment's important, but certainly there are ones that are more important, and those are the ones that I report then into Skyward. And I only do maybe 2 of those per week on average, sometimes less, sometimes more, but that's kind of a good rule of thumb. Okay, so then let's go ahead and take a look at kind of my plan book for next week. This week, again, we're finishing up NWEA, and next week the plan for science is we've kind of gotten through, metric review, and we're going to really hit hard data collection, and so specifically measuring of length, with accuracy and precision, and then graphing that information and moving on to area and volume towards the end of the week. In biology, we're going to be taking our science of life quiz on Tuesday that will cover nature of science, characteristics of living things, and a chemistry review. And then we're going to start into biological macromolecules and carbon-based molecules, carbon compounds, and moving on from there. So as always, I deeply appreciate everything you do as caregivers to support the learning that's happening in my classroom. I know it's been a rough week. Hopefully things will continue to get better. Loved being able to be at the cross country meet on Wednesday, and we had our first football game last night. So it definitely feels better than it did last year about this time. And hopefully we can continue to improve as we move through this difficult times in this global pandemic. So thank you again so much. And as always, if you need to contact me, you can just post it below this post in Parent Square, or just shoot me an email. I'll get back to you as quickly as I can.